Boys and girls, how we doing? Welcome back to another Andy Plays Golf video. I'm actually in my cupboard now. This is where I do all my editing and all my studying and my personal stuff. And we're going to run through a very short video on how to work the Shot Tracer app. I've had a ton of questions from you guys about how I get that line after I hit my shot that shows you where the balls went. So that's what we're going to do now. I cut a lot of corners out the process, so it's probably going to be the easiest way that you're going to find, and it takes 2 minutes to do. And it's as simple as that. So there's a couple of versions. You've got the PC version and you've got the phone version. I'm only going to concentrate on the phone version because I do have the PC version, and unless you're going to be doing what I do with YouTube videos and things, it's really not worth it. So the phone is perfectly fine. I think the app itself is about £5.50. I use the Android version, so I don't know how much the Apple is, so have a look. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the Shot Tracer on the phone, and then we're actually going to move over to the computer and I'm going to show you how you would replace the footage that you've got with the Shot Tracer app. And this is for you guys who do have YouTube channels or want to do a wee bit more in-depth editing. So let's jump straight in. Let's open the Shot Tracer app. I've got my screen recording. We'll take it from there. So just a wee tip before we start. If you open up your gallery app, this is where all your footage should be. This is the phone I use for recording all of my YouTube videos. So as you can see there, I've got 63 videos inside my camera roll, but what I've done is I've moved the clip over into a separate folder. That just means that I don't have to scroll through everything to find that video, so it just makes it a bit easier. So first thing you're going to open up here is the Shot Tracer app. So it's quite an easy interface to work with at the front. Up the top you've got line, swing, pitch and putt. To be honest, I only use the line, but the swing is where you've maybe seen like on the Instagram account. They'll physically show you the player's swing going round, and that's like a Shot Tracer on the swing arc. A pitch is just for a reduced pitch shot, and the putt is for putting, basically. Down the bottom you've got your gallery and you've got your settings app, and then you've got your camera button and you've got your import video button. I always like to record onto the phone first and then bring it in as a separate video rather than use the camera app, but if you're out in the course you can hit that camera button and then start working with the footage that you've just recorded from the app. So we're going to open up the settings icon down at the very bottom right, and we'll talk through a couple of wee things inside that. This screen that you see at the top here, this freeze frame of this guy, is showing you what your Shot Tracer will look like. So yours should by default be red, and it's probably a bit thicker than mine. Way to change that is line colour. I've used it as my brand colour. I've got the line thickness quite low because, to be honest, if it's a bit thicker, I just think it takes up too much of the shot. So I like to have that quite thin and a bit minimal. I've got it as a fly out line. That basically means, as you can see, it doesn't stay static after the shot's been hit. It will chase after it and gives it a kind of a more emphasis on speed. That's kind of the way I like it. Laser line, if you select that, it just makes it a wee bit kind of neon looking, and again, you don't want to take over too much. You want this just to be something that people can use for reference. These settings here you probably won't touch. You obviously maybe want to change your distance marker from meters to yards if it's in meters. Extended tracking I've taken off. I'll explain that in just a wee minute. I've got low light tracking off and auto trim exported videos, and I've got that off as well. The reason for that is if you upload a 1 minute video, what it will try and do is condense your shot of, say, 7 or 8 seconds, and it will cut before and after, and it will just give you that 7 or 8 seconds. What I've found in the past is that sometimes it takes a wee bit off the end, so just before the line hits the ground it cuts off and it just doesn't look too good. So I've removed that, and I do my cutting in the video before I bring it into Shot Tracer, so I've got the shortest point of the video. So this bit here that you can see with the triangle that says open unsupported apps, that section is for if you get an error message when you first try and bring in a video. Chances are you will, because I did as well, and you basically just go in there and click it. I don't know what file formats are supported or what's not, but yeah, just select that if you get the error message. So back to the home screen, let's bring in the footage and we'll start doing a Shot Tracer on it. So here's your recent files, anything like that. Just go into your gallery and there's that folder. As you can see, my clip's only 58 seconds, and it will export it as a full 58 second rather than 7 or 8 seconds for the shot, because I've taken that setting off. So we're going to load that in. You can load multiple in if you want, but for me it just makes it a wee bit easier, and you'll see the multiple ones down below if you did do that, but I just like working one at a time. You can delete it, or we're going to hit the settings icon. What it's going to do is look for the impact frame. The impact frame is the frame in which it detects the sound of the club hitting the ball. It's quite a clever bit of kit. What it usually does is put the impact frame after the ball's been hit. So you want your shot tracer to start the moment the ball is hit. So for me, I'll knock it back one frame just to allow the ball and the club to be in the shot at the same time. So that frame there is pretty much perfect. If you've got multiple shots in a frame, you won't be able to do them all in the one shot. You will need to cut that video up into like 3 separate videos and bring them in as 3. It will just find the sound of the first video. If your camera doesn't have a microphone, or your microphone's not working in your camera, you'll need to think about going through and scrubbing it, just trying to find where the shot was hit. It just takes a wee bit longer. So let's hit next on this, and what it's going to do is confirm trajectory. You might have a separate section in here called extended tracking. That's what I've removed. This is a £5.50 app, right, and it's using the camera on your phone. The chances are it's not picked up the full ball flight, especially as you can see with that grey sky. I've specifically used this bit of footage because I know it's not going to pick it up. It's selected the manual button, and honestly, out all of my shot tracers are done with the manual button. It is very rare that I'll select either A, B, C, D or E. What these are here is what the app thinks your ball went like, because it can only see a certain amount, so it can't see the full thing. You know, you're working with a basic phone and camera here, so it can't see the full flight, so it maybe gives you the start of it and just kind of predicts where it went. But if this is a shot that you remember, it was an absolute beast of a shot, or it was a massive slice, you can manually program that in. And to be honest, this is what I do for all my videos. I very rarely use the pre-populated shot tracer that it comes up, so always select manual for me, and this is how I cut corners with it. So we'll hit next, and you can see there in editing mode you've got launch and landing. First thing you're going to do is do the launch of the ball. So what we'll do is we'll make it on a horizontal video and we'll move it over. You've got 2 buttons here that you can move. This top one is going to move the height of the ball. So you can see my colour kind of blends in, but your red one you should see it a wee bit more. So that's going to be where the height of the ball is, and this bottom one you can see the red square, and that's where you want to select where your ball was on the ground. So have a wee look at the first couple of frames. Hopefully you guys should be able to see it, but the ball does move away 3 or 4 frames, we can see that. So we're going to just move the line of the shot tracer over that, and that is pretty good. That's about my ball flight. You can see it in the clouds up there, but we can change that in a wee minute if we're not happy with it. So that's the starting point of the ball. So let's close that back, and we'll go back to landing and do the exact same. We've only got one wee bit to move here, but we've got 2 axes on either side. One's for lifting the finish position of your shot if it's going downhill or uphill, and the next one is for the height of the shot, but remember we've already worked with that. You can basically move wherever you want. If it was a slice, it goes that way. If it's a draw, it goes that way. This was a bit of a baby draw, but you can see the way my feet are set up that it actually landed about there, so it doesn't look like a draw, but it was a wee bit of a draw. So you obviously don't want it to go there, you don't want it to go there. This is a physical finish point. You want it to match up with the ground, so I'm happy with that. Guess what? That's it. That is physically your shot tracer. The next thing you're going to do is we're working with a full swing. Hit next, and this takes you onto the settings section. You can see the pre-populated colour and the line thickness. This is from the settings page. If you change any of them, it will appear in that every time, but you can change it if you want later on. I like to give my playing partner a different colour from me, and that's how I would change it in there. So we've got fly out line. We've also got the laser in here. You've got a target. I use this on approach shots into the green, not really much for a driver because you're not particularly aiming at anything, but like this you can move it about and it'll give you a wee arrow on the screen, and that's roughly where the flag would be. Again, you can use the full screen on that. You can make sure that you get it on the right bit basically, but as I said, I only use that on approach shots. So click away for that. You can put a distance in, and you can select what club you're wanting to hit. You can select the distance of it. You manually need to put this in, so it doesn't know how far you've hit it. It's not like a physical launch monitor. And if it was 250 yards, you put your 250 yards in, and it would display on your shot that it was 250 yards, but I don't put that in. Smoke, after you've hit the ball, you get a wee bit of smoke, so a bit of visual effects. I quite like the rocket one. The rocket one's quite cool. COVID-19, I don't know why. Genuinely, I don't know why. Just take it out, guys. Explosion, this is good for if you've went out of bounds, you'll get an explosion on the landing shot, and very similar, if you land it in the water, you can put a splash on it just to show that it's went in the water, so quite cool. But basically, as long as you're not wanting to change any of this, the best thing you would do is hit save, and it's going to export the video. Exports it down to a separate video, and that is it. Simple as that. Okay, so now that's finished, you can hit play to watch it, or if you go back into your gallery, you'll see that it's now created a new folder called Processed. This is where all your shot tracers will go in. Hit Process, and you can physically watch the video, and you'll be able to see that it gives us, see how it's the full clip, it's not just cut the shot. And there's a nice shot tracer on it. So I think that looks pretty good. It was an extremely windy day on this video. This is the PhD video that's coming out, so if you've not already done so, please make sure you subscribe. That'll be coming up soon. Okay, so for you guys that are wanting to do Instagram reels and things like that, to be honest, you can leave the video here. That's pretty much it. You would then upload that or cut it down or put it into your own wee editor and move it over. We're now going to talk about the guys who, like myself, who've got the YouTube channel and want to do a wee bit further editing. So they want to replace that clip that they've recorded but keep the beginning and end in and just replace the shot tracer. So we're going to move over to Davinci Resolve on the computer and I'll show you how you would replace it. Alright, so this is us on the computer. You can see the file that I've just transferred over. This is a physical shot tracer. The software that I use is Davinci Resolve. It's free and it's a great bit of kit, but you do need to have a bit of a beastie computer to run it. So send me a wee message and I can talk you through that if needs be. Okay, so here's the initial clip that we've just edited, and this is it without any shot tracer on it. So you can see that there's a pre-bit for the shot and I hit it and there's no tracer on it. What we're going to do is add in that shot tracer footage and then remove just that section, but then keep the rest of it, so you don't need to have all these different clips, and it just makes it look a lot better. So the first thing we're going to do is load it in. I'm not going to talk about how to edit videos, that's, you can kind of figure that out on your own. But the first thing we're going to do is find out on this top clip, which is a new shot tracer clip, we're going to find out where the hit of the ball was. So it was about here. Okay, so we're just going to bring this down just to make it easier to edit and then move it over. So the shot was about there. So what we're going to use to sync these clips up is the audio waveforms. This is why it's so important to have a working microphone on the camera or the phone that you're recording with. The waveforms are going to be exactly the same, so you can pretty much just match them up and you know that the video is going to be matched up. So the first thing you're going to look at is duplicates in the waveforms. So as you can see here, this file here and this bit, they're all the same. So we know this is the shot here, so what I'm going to do is zoom in and just see if we can bring them close together. You're not going to get it always perfect, so there's probably a way to move it with your software, but it jumps from frame to frame, but to be honest, there's absolutely no difference between those two frames, so I'm happy with that. We don't want to have the full clip in here because it's not going to mean anything and we might be talking before it and you just don't want that. So you basically just want the swing to start, so let's move that to there, and then you want it to disappear after the shot lands. Okay, so that's where it lands, and I'm going to bring this file in here, which is the shot tracer. So this top bit is the shot tracer audio, and this is the original clip. So I'm going to create a couple of cuts, one there and one there, and basically what I'm going to do is select this clip, that audio, because we only need one audio and we only need one video, and simply just slide it into place. So this is the original clip, shot tracer clip with original audio and original clip. So if we move that along, you'll see it's normal, and then we get the shot tracer, runs all the way up, looks pretty good, and we'll let it land out, and then it moves on. So you can see there's a wee bit of a jerk there. That can sometimes happen because you're jumping between clips and it's maybe not mirrored up properly. But other than that, guys, that is it. Genuine, that is it. It's so easy. So if you're looking to get into editing or adding clips into it, that's it. There's probably an easier way to do it, but for me, I find that dead easy, and it means I can move on. So yeah, we'll leave it there. So hopefully this has helped you guys. It's answered a couple of questions, and get yourself out there, start hitting shots, go and get the shot tracer app, get it recorded, and send me them over and see what it looks like. But other than that, we'll leave it there. Behave yourselves, take it easy, We'll see you in the next one.